Hello everyone. So today we are at the World Delhi Book Fair 2026 and we have Miss Samriddhi Gulati, the author of The Shadow Weaver. Hello, welcome ma'am.
Hello, thank you.
So let's begin with a fun interactive session. Before we talk about your book, what's one small ordinary habit that keeps you oddly grounded as a writer?
My emotions. I think my feelings, they are the which are the biggest critics. They are the ones, my emotions, they always keep me grounded because they tell me this is right, this is wrong. I have yin and the yang on my shoulders all the time. So I think, yes, my emotions are always grounding.
Okay, that's great. What was the very first idea or image that sparked the Shadow Weaver, the concept of parallel worlds, or the inner journey?
You would be surprised, this book never came out of a plot or an idea. The book came out of a question that what if I had chosen otherwise? What happens to the lives we don't live? What happens to the choices we don't make? So this question became Maya, and Maya's journey became the Shadow Weaver. And rest everything was destiny and everything followed. The worlds, the multiverse, everything followed.
Okay. The book asks whether reality is woven rather than fixed. What does that question personally mean to you?
What is reality? Tell me.
Something that we live in the present or something that we think might be there?
For me, reality is your narrative against mine.
Okay.
So for me, no, reality isn't fixed. It is negotiated with survival, with the truth, with everything that challenges us.
Okay. As this is your debut, what kind of emotional experience did you hope readers would step into from the very first page?
I want to make them feel unsettled yet honest. And it would be like that their feet know how to dance, but their heart has forgotten the melody.
Okay, that's quite interesting. Identity feels fluid in the world. What aspects of identity were you most curious to explore through Maya?
I think it was an identity crisis for Maya. So I wanted Maya to feel real, yet very vulnerable. And when you read the book, you would come to know that it's about identity crisis and then identification of her true being. So she's traveling through so many universes, multiverses, the parallel worlds, and everything. It is all about identity crisis, and finally meeting her true self.
Yes. So anything that you want to tell your readers to, like a small spoiler or something for them, like any, probably a movie character they might relate Maya with.
Mm, they would relate Maya to any character if they are interested in science fiction and time travel. Like Interstellar. I think
Okay.
all the characters from that movie would be associated with Maya because Maya is also a multiverse traveler. She weaves the destinies, she weaves the realities. It's everything in her hand. So I think Interstellar.
So all the Interstellar fans, this book is for you.
Yes.
How do fractured selves help us understand the choices we make in real life?
See, fractured selves for me are the choices we don't make. Every choice is a loss, and every choice also has a consequence. So, choices may feel free at the moment, but consequences wait silently.
That's the true. Maya moves through alternate realities while also navigating inner worlds. How does her external journey mirror her inner transformation?
See, Maya is not traveling to escape, she is traveling to confront. And all these worlds she travels to and she visits gives her a piece of herself back to her so that her identity is complete.
Okay. The idea that every decision creates a new reality is central to the story. How do you personally think about choice and consequence?
Choice and consequences are inversely proportional to each other. So you make a choice now and the consequence waits.
Yes. So, being a mother and also, having your first book debut, How does you sometimes make a few choices which might be a loss for the choice you did not make, but how do you navigate that?
Hmm. See, the biggest guilt a mother has is not giving enough time to the kids. Which thankfully I do not have this guilt because I wrote my book post 3 a.m. So if you go by my social media handles also they say 3 a.m. whisperer or 3 a.m. blogger because actually all the epiphanies bud in my mind at that point of time. So I feel I have given enough time to everything and not feel bad about it or not regret about it. So I think I am good at time managing time.
So that's the secret
Yes,
to
that's
it.
the secret.
Do you see parallel worlds as literal possibilities, metaphors, or both?
Parallel worlds. You call them science, you call them metaphors, I call them almost lived lives. So maybe not a literal possibility or a reality, but of course anything can happen in your mind.
True. What does the book suggest about control? Are we shaping reality or are we being shaped by it?
Long time back, Newton already gave us a law. To every action, there is an opposite and equal and opposite reaction. So we don't control reality, we just provoke it and it answers back.
Your background in psychology deeply informs the narrative. How did psychological insights shape the way you build the worlds?
See, psychological insights did not build the worlds, they built the fault lines in the story. Fantasy gave the permission, and emotion was the blood. And rest, everything followed.
How do you balance clarity and mystery so readers feel intrigued rather than lost?
I have grounded everything in emotion. So even when the world shifts, the feelings remain the same. So the readers are not confused or intrigued what to feel and what not to feel because the emotion is very clear at every point of time.
Okay, so emotion is the core to all the
Yes.
elements. Fantasy often reveals truths that realism cannot. What truths did fantasy allow you to explore here?
That truth is stranger than fiction, and truth doesn't always bring clarity. And healing is a linear process. It's not immediate, but it's a very linear process. And reality, what is reality? Again,
Yes.
my narrative against yours.
I love that line, by the way.
Thank you.
How has growing up in Jammu and Kashmir influenced the atmosphere and emotional texture of your storytelling?
Well, growing up in Jammu and Kashmir has literally given me immense spectrum of storytelling. I have seen best and worst of both the worlds. I have seen beauty and I have seen brutality share the same sky. I have seen peace and I have seen war taking the same breath. I have seen best and the worst of both the worlds. So this duality you will see in my storytelling. It lives in my storytelling. I know for a fact, living in Jammu and Kashmir, that silence is heavy and actions speak louder than words.
That's interesting to hear. Were there moments where the story surprised even you as the writer?
Yes, yes. There were so many moments, especially when Maya rejected her own name. She insisted on being called Maya. Initially, I had named her Kavya, but she was revolting. So one fine night, I had this epiphany: no, she is not Kavya, she's Maya. So at that point of time, I stopped pretending that I am leading, and writing this book was more like listening than directing.
There's a quote, writers don't write the book, the readers get them written by it.
Yes, yes, true.
The prose is lyrical and layered. How important was rhythm and language in shaping the reader's experience?
Language is the soul of the book, and rhythm is the emotion. So, of course, these are both grounding and captivating forces, and they were very, very important for me. Because under the narrative, there is a pulse, and that pulse I would like the readers to feel it once they are reading the book.
So now we'll do a small finish the thought kind of thing. Reality becomes fragile when
Your narrative wins over mine.
identity shifts the moment we
Go start questioning the mirror.
choice carries weight because
because it leaves evidence in form of regrets and consequences.
The shadow within us reveals
What we try to bury.
truth often hides behind.
Comfort.
Now, a small this or that multiverse edition. Inner words or outer realities?
Inner worlds.
Fate or free will?
Free will to control fate.
Clarity or ambiguity?
Ambiguity.
Psychology or philosophy?
Psychology.
Truth or illusion?
Illusionary truth.
What kind of questions do you hope readers are left asking after the final page?
What if I had chosen differently? What if there's another version of mine somewhere? And what if that version is braver than me? Or maybe not that brave. But all these kinds of questions, what if, what, kash. I want to ignite that kash in everybody.
Okay. Who do you think this book speaks to the most? Dreamers, thinkers, or seekers?
Thinkers who dream of seeking.
Wow, so it's for everyone, guys. Do check it out. Now, final concluding question. How do you hope The Shadow Weaver stays with readers long after they finish it?
I would like it to stay as a powerful but a quiet echo, and it should surface whenever they are at crossroads of life, whenever they are given options and they want, kash hum Maya hote so we could have chosen everything.
That's great. Thank you. Any final words, ma'am?
See, though this is my debut novel as a author, but I have been a storyteller my entire life. So please do read the book, and I hope you would love it. Thank you.